God damn it, dude. That was on my... That's actually on my bad. I think that was completely by my accident, because I think there was a hiccup, but then I just fucking pressed the wrong button. I just pressed the wrong button. That's essentially what happened. Because there was a hiccup on my behalf, but I think it just fixed itself. But then I was like, nah, let's just press the disconnect button like an absolute genius. My apologies, guys. That was me. Yes, yes. 90% of the time, I'm going to be honest with you guys. 90% of the time, it probably is going to be a me problem, because I don't know why it happens. I generally don't. So if it fucks itself, probably just blame me. Let's just resort to that. Blame me, and that's okay. Because I'll accept responsibility and deflect it onto someone else. I'll deflect responsibility onto someone else, just so you know. 48 seconds just live now. Alright, yeah, let me apologize again, everyone. I do apologize. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for coming back. Yeah, listen, it's my fault. Rather, not my fault, my net's fault. But I will blame myself. The neighborhood using his Wi-Fi just keeps disconnecting. Honestly, you never know. You never know. You never know with this world. I don't accept your apology. King, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Don't ever accept anything from me then. I was gonna give you $40 million. Don't accept that either. Yes, welcome back, everyone. Said boy Ferrari cares, Rat, Caslana, Ophelia, King, everyone. Welcome back. Glad stream's still up. Yeah, my apologies again on that. I endeavor to not have it happen, but sometimes I don't even know what happens, so I can't really avoid it. But yeah, we're back. We're still grinding, still the same run. Am I a dinosaur person? Not really, actually. No, I'm quite a human person. I'm a human person. True, same brain. Dad brain, dude. that right there is called dad brain. It's not same brain, it's dad brain. Van Rakasane is a Jurassic fan. She keeps questioning about a dinosaur person. No, like a dinosaur fan? No, I'm not a fan made of dinosaurs, dude. What do you mean? No, I'm not a fan of dinosaurs. I don't really. No, I'm not. Answering your question honestly and genuinely, I'm not a dinosaur fan, no. I like T-Rexes, I guess. Maybe. Sometimes. But generally speaking, not that big of a fan of dinosaurs. Like, I like T-Rexes maybe sometimes. I like a nice pterodactyl spelt with a P. Doesn't make much sense, but it's there. But other than that, nah, I'm not much of a dino person. Back to the previous topic. I remember back then Honkai was huge. Many people I talked about, even random kids in my family, talks about how actually I actually addressed that topic after the stream went down, but I didn't realize. Yeah, sorry. Let me answer that question. I think it's dependent on which country you're from. I think it's very much dependent on which country you're from, like, and you grew up in. Honkai is not a big game in Western society. And that's, or wasn't a big game in Western society. Whilst after the release of Genshin, a lot of the Genshin players trickled into Honkai. So, at the time when Honkai was the only game that MiHoYo had that was like live service essentially, I would have said that it wasn't AA and it was bigger in specific countries than others. Obviously had players everywhere, but wasn't big. But then after Genshin's release with the whole worldwide thing, then it trickled down and made Honkai substantially more popular, obviously. How many do I have of the other ones? Unsubbed King, thank you. Thank you for unsubbing. I also need to message you on this after the stream, King. I'm going to message you on Twitter, so expect a message about stuff. Go then and stop spoiling. Rat, remember to zip your mouth, Kaslana. I agree with Ophelia. Do not do the spoilies. Do not do spoilies. If you make an anthropomorphic dinosaur, I would be a fan of them. Same. Corruption makes me rain. Choose Rescue. I will not choose Rescue. I think Honkai popularity peaked in 2019 with the release of Hershey of Reason. I think I saw some Honkai ads on trains and billboards. Very likely. Very likely. But again, also depends on where you grew up. Because, for example, you go to Japan, you're going to see anime everywhere. Right? You're going to see anime billboards, anime advertisements. Regardless of if anime is even watched in Japan. If you ask the older society of Japan, they don't watch anime. And they make up a large portion, I'm pretty sure. But there's going to be anime billboards everywhere. So it depends on what's big everywhere. You go to Sydney, you're not going to see a single anime advertisement unless you're going to an anime convention, essentially. So it depends on what's big where. And a lot, like, and this is made by a Korean developer. Sorry, I don't want to say Korean. I don't know exactly where Honkai is made, from what origin. But it's made in an Asian country, so it's going to be slightly bigger. Much like Punishing Grey Ravens, it's popular in Asia countries, or that, like, Southeast Asian area. I was in Sea Region, Malaysia, there you go. It's going to be a lot more popular there. Whilst Genshin was initially worldwide, it was initially released worldwide and got worldwide success, so it's obviously going to be slightly better. We only have Deliverance. That's actually quite alright. That means we can go with a double... Okay, we can't go with a double anything, actually, so I take that back immediately. I guess we go for more Deliverance. Why not? I had to suffer because I couldn't play for a year because I broke my phone. My new phone was worse than my new phone. And I couldn't handle Honkai, and I suffered so long. That is a very unfortunate thing. But at least, can you play now? If you can play now, then that's Pog. Hey, what's up, Zikri? Welcome to the stream. How are you? And Naz, welcome to the stream. Hello, hello. Hope you both are having a great day. Genshin, obviously, more popular worldwide. And yeah, I think that's a big reason of seeing advertisements and just general knowing of the game. Right? Just general, like, knowing that the game exists. Right? Because even though I was extremely into the gaming world when I was 9 to 10 years old. No, actually, that's too long ago. Even when I was, Honkai released 2016. Or 2017, or whatever. What was I doing at that time? I think I was playing World of Warcraft and, like, Warframe, I think, maybe? I didn't know that Honkai exists. So, when it released, I didn't know it existed because it might have... The advertisements and everything might have been super popular Asia side. But worldwide side, not so much. A 1,000-year-old rat from Mars? God damn, dude. 1,000 years? Really? That's hectic. I'm a 30-year-old man living in the state of Virginia. Oh, please let me kill this zombie before. If Genshin only released on mobile, then it would be the same state as Honkai as it wasn't released. Absolutely, I agree with that, said boy. If it did, like, the thing is, releasing your game on PC, and that is key word there, release. Because the launch day, or the release day for video games is always going to be super important. And if you release on every platform, everywhere, you have a higher chance of encapsulating more people. I know there's a specific... a genre, or specific, sorry, not genre, specific amount of people in the world that only play PC. They only play PC. They don't play anything else. There's a specific amount of people that only play console, only play mobile. And so, if you cater to a specific one, you ostracize the other one. And thus, if you don't do it to all three, you ostracize the other two, obviously. Do I want Bodhi or this one? I think I don't. No, I don't. What is my IP? It's 73 Wallaby Way, Sydney. It's 73 Wallaby Way, Sydney. But back then, if Mihoyo released Genshin firsthand, I doubt that the phone storage can handle it. Back then? What do you mean back then? Like if they released it like ages ago? Well, they didn't conceptualize it ages ago. Do you mean if they only released it on mobile? Maybe. Genshin on mobile is gonna die, by the way. I hope everyone knows that. Genshin on mobile is not gonna live. You can't open... There's a reason that there's not that many open world games to the scale of Genshin Impact on mobile. And I think Genshin might be the only one. Doing open world games on mobile is near impossible because of the raw amount of storage and data that it takes up. Without your phone constantly overheating. Genshin on mobile will die. So, I hope that's obvious to everyone. You can't, like, there's a reason that Assassin's Creed isn't on mobile. It's because it just wouldn't run. It wouldn't run. Do you think Mihoyo can remake Honkai with new engine and with all the bells and whistles that comes with making it with a PC in mind? They could. They definitely could. But I don't know why they would. Because here's the thing, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that to make a good game. I think we actually go for Deliverance, get the final Deliverance, and then go to the shop. So I'm going to go Kevin. You don't have to do that. Let me explain why. If you can just port your game properly, you do not have to remake it. The only reason they'd remake it into a different engine is for a graphical increase. There's no reason for that. The graphics is such a minor thing that it's not important. There's like the amount of people that strictly care about graphics, and if the game looks bad, they don't play it, is such a small percentage. I played Vampire Survivors before. If that game looks like ass, it's great to play, you know? So if the game plays well, people will play it. And the game does play well. And then porting it to PC, they don't have to remake it if they just make the correct ports and keybinds and UI and just kind of just remake the game in terms of a quality of life and UI sense instead of graphically and gameplay wise. My phone has 50 gigabyte of storage and Honkai takes so much of it. Exactly, that's what I mean. Like Genshin, it takes up more. I think Genshin's like at about... Oh, Genshin might be slightly, like right about there. Genshin's a very big game right now. Genshin's at about maybe 50 to 60 gigabytes, if I remember. Unless it's a reboot like Modern Warfare. I don't know the Modern Warfare reboot, to be quite frank with you. I'm not quite familiar with that. Oh, Alicia! I have to go with Alicia, right? Even though I want to go with a shop. Ah! Oh, that's so depressing. Wait, no! Wait, no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Catch you later, right, Kaslana? Catch you. Maybe some of Honkai story chapters could use some graphical update, though I agree, even after when it has released capable of burning most phone. Exactly. Mobile this day have really big storage. Storage isn't the problem, Shin. It's not solely storage that is the problem. I do apologize, I might have made it sound like storage is the problem. But it's not just storage. The raw horsepower behind phones isn't enough to run an open world game. Okay, so put this into perspective. Storage problems are becoming a thing in Genshin even now with only 3 new zones. We have 4 zones at minimum to be released by the end of the game's lifespan, 5 if you take into consideration the chance of adding Celestia and all that stuff. And with that, each zone is going to have offspringing zones. So extra zones like Enkanomiya and the Golden Apple Archipelago, which was removed, but similar concept. So you have 4 extra zones. That's going to at least add at least 30 more gigs because the current game is 15. Or it could add 15 more gigs. Okay, and then you have to load that world seamlessly. It has to be seamlessly loading because that's what mobile games are. Or sorry, open world games are. It has to be seamless. On top of that, you have to be able to see most of it because graphical rendering, unless you shorten the render distance, obviously. And then also the phone has to be able to handle extreme amounts of particle effects and elemental reactions. So in terms of storage, yeah, sure, most phones, because you can even get up to 2 terabyte storage phones, which is, that's crazy. I'm pretty sure you can at least. Storage is fine, or maybe even 1 terabyte, sorry, is fine. But then you also have to take into consideration graphical stuff, and then also, will the phone overheat? The phone will overheat. Cooling your phone is not easy. There's not that many cooling modalities for a phone, like there is a PC. So when you take all those things into consideration, yes, storage can be alleviated, but can processing power and graphical power be alleviated, and can also the heat problem be alleviated? Those other two, not so much. Whilst keeping it a phone, So yeah, that's the main thing. Mobile this day have really big storage, so I don't think Genshin will die. It won't die now, but it will die in the future once you start getting to the future zones. 100%. And also, you have to take the in terms of your referencing what games you're referencing, you have to take games of the similar type. PGR is like Honkai. It's like zone-based combat, so you go into an instance, so you can load instances separately. Arkanites is an arena-based, which has no graphical intensity, and Honkai is the same as PGR, where it's arena-based. Is 12GB on my phone? Honkai 12GB. Yeah, and like, I guess it also may come down to how well Genshin Impact compresses its files, right? It does come down to that. Like, does it compress its files really well, or in a way that alleviates massive amounts of storage and processing power, or is it like a mess of compression and the game is going to look like shit to be able to play it? Alright, let me try to do this floor, because we're going to have to focus here for a second to kill these guys. If I'm going to be able to try to get the double on this one, it's going to take a long time. Yeah, I don't think we'll get it. I think what makes Honkai take up so much space, if you look into the game files, I think you can find all cutscenes from every event story. Yes, you can, yep. That is a reason why it'll take up a lot of space. That you can literally look back at everything in the video game. Oh, we got, well, with 4 seconds to spare, nice. Yeah, Honkai does that. You can replay everything from the previous, like, events and stories. That can cause a problem, obviously, but because Honkai by itself isn't an open world game, I think they can kind of do that. Because if you, let's say, combo the open world part of Genshin with the fact to be able to replay cutscenes and high intensity animations, bro, that would be crazy. Honkai would take up so much storage. But I guess the problem is alleviated with the fact that the gameplay portion of it is not too graphically intensive. Well, actually, no, the graphical part is quite intense. I guess that's actually not right on my part. I think... Let me think about this. This run is going really well, actually. We got everything from Kevin. I guess we go Eden now. I think we just go Eden now. 5 more? 5 more what? I try to open Honkai. It's been 2 days since I never opened it. Oh, get on there, dude. It's true, my phone at least. I did back up all my cutscene files, though. It brings back a lot of memories. Here's the thing, you'll never be able to solve this, this mobile game dilemma will always be a thing of trying to get PC-styled games onto mobile. It will always be a problem because PC games are always evolving graphically because graphics cards are evolving. And phones don't evolve graphically or for graphical processing in the same pace. They grow and evolve more in terms of everyday use. So I don't think the problem will ever be solved, but there's going to be a certain points in life where it's like it feels solved, and so on and so forth. And I don't know. It's just, you can play most games on fucking mobile anyway, for the most part. I just make the prediction that Genshin will lose its mobile player base in the future unless you have a top-of-the-range mobile device. Let's just say that's my prediction. Unless you have the most recent iPhone, Samsung, you won't be able to play Genshin well. It won't be a smooth experience. I think the phone can play Genshin Max setting is already out and used in Chaotic Stream a lot. I don't know anything about that, to be quite frank with you, but if that is the case, then epic. But here's the thing. If it has to be a top-of-the-range phone that isn't accessible to a large percentage of people in the world, are you really going to call the game mobile-friendly? You know what I mean? Like, everyone in the world can play Clash of Clans, like, with any phone. Whilst if you have to have a specific phone to play Genshin Impact at max settings, or even at mediocre settings, it's a bit of a different story. What did I miss? And we're just talking about Genshin Impact and how it's being ported over... Also, not ported, my bad. How it would fare in terms of being a mobile game in the future when all of Genshin Impact is released. That's essentially what we're talking about right now. And I don't believe that it will, like, benefit a lot from... Well, not benefit. Benefit's the wrong word. I don't think it will live to the end of Genshin Impact on mobile. In my eyes, this game art style looks great with its vibrant colors, color palette. This game will age well graphics-wise. Well, here's the thing. Every game can age well. It's consistency with your game and determination to stick to a specific art style or graphical design that lets your game kind of shine, right? In a way, if that makes any amount of sense in my mind, even. Like, I think we go shop. I wouldn't like it if Honkai got a massive graphical redesign, in my honest opinion, right? Like, I would not like it if Honkai got a graphical redesign, because it's like they're changing their fundamental starting point. There's a difference between remaking your graphics and then refining your graphics, because you can definitely see from the early cinematics to the more recent cinematics, the more refined and straight and precise lining of their art style and a bit more fluidity in character motion, but that's obviously animation design. But that refinement and redesign is definitely two different things. If they redesigned it, I don't think people would be happy in any way. Redesigning it, no go. Absolutely not. God, what do we buy? We got 1,300 coins. What do we buy? I think we buy one signet from there, even though I don't want that one specifically. It's fine. I got the worst ones for this. I really need to go, boys, I need to go pee really quickly. 50 bucks that Ven can reach 1k subs in an hour before he finishes the stream. Bro, let's get it done. Everyone, call your grandparent. I'm gonna go take a piss right now, because I've been bussing for the past hour. Call your grandparents, right? Call your grandparents. Tell them to sub to the channel right now. I'm going to the bathroom.
hope today too shall be prosperous.
We're back. Welcome back, everyone. I mean, welcome back to myself. I mean, you can take many Honkai Valks and slot into more modern game like Genshin and it won't feel out of place. Absolutely true, though. Yeah, absolutely true. I can agree with that. I'm getting right back into it. No time for things. I think the phone chaotic use is for gaming because I also have 2 cooling fan and auto change with the game setting. I think you might be... Yeah, the games... Okay, Shin, I'm actually going to acknowledge that that's actually a fair point. The game-specific designed phones, essentially like the Razer phone, I will agree that if you make a phone designed for gaming, sure, it can run the game. But at that point, why don't you just buy yourself a PC? You know what I mean? Like, do you see where I'm coming from? Because even then, these gaming phones do cost a lot of money, and with that money, you could probably buy yourself... Not you specifically, but like just hypothetically, the person can buy themselves a PC, right? So I see where you're coming from, gaming specific phones, but maybe some people prefer playing on mobile. I don't know, maybe. This is the first time you see me go to the bathroom. Yeah, I don't go to the bathroom much because I don't drink much stuff except coffee, which coffee, weirdly enough, doesn't make me go to the bathroom like it does with other people. Do you know there will be a new feature added to the Eastern Shop? Well, it's the reset. Well, it's just the reset button on it. Oh, is it really? Oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, I didn't know. Oh, that's actually interesting. I'm looking forward to that. Let us. Okay, so what do we need? Let me see what we need. Where are my Setsuna ones? Setsuna. Actually, we're pretty good on Setsuna. I could go with one more like upgrade. Sorry, enhancement, but I think if we go with Vicissitude, maybe. I think we upgrade here, actually. Just upgrade all of the Kevin ones. And then... boost that one. And then I go for Setsuna again. Some gaming phones can be expensive as a PC, to be honest. I don't think many people have those. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, wait, yeah. Like, at a certain point, it's like, do you want to buy a phone that is as powerful as a PC, but also pretty much the same price? Or maybe slightly less powerful? Or do you want to buy a phone? I don't know. A PC is good, but with phone you play everywhere, and play PC also hurt my back for sitting too long. And that's that's absolutely fine, Shin. I guess that comes down to personal preference, is of, do you want to play on the go, or do you want to play at home? And that's literally up to the person. So, I didn't know you were specifically talking about gaming phones. With the whole gaming phones in mind, I 100% agree with you that phones can run the game at a higher end. I 100% agree with you. Beyond doubt. I would actually get gaming laptop instead of phone. Now that I think about it, I don't really play and follow the game that much, except for League, World of Tanks, and the upcoming Hoyoverses games. There you go. Why don't you change Ellie to Himiko BR? That's a good point. I should probably change it on when I go into the final boss, right? Yeah, that's a valid point. Even now, I should have changed it. Oh no, I can't change it now, can I? Whoops. Oh well. Is what it is. Is what it is. I will change that though for Mobius. Or watching the live using laptop. Hey, laptop gang. I used to be a laptop boy. I used to be one of the laptopians. It's good times. Mobility is important, I guess. If you are constantly moving around. Oh, we got... Okay, that's the worst one. I needed the other one. Oh, that's bad. I needed the other one. I guess that's fine, actually. No. I think Eden's the choice. Yeah. This is the double as well, so we need to kind of beat these bad boys up. You can also combo BR with Kalpas. That is true. You prove a very valid point, Hui. I'll take that into consideration, and next time we do it, I will do that. I will 100% do that. I just kind of forgot that it exists, to be absolutely honest. That changing those characters is a thing. Mid-run, sorry. I forgot that changing the mid-run is actually a thing that you can do. Now these guys take a while. Oh, please die. Don't revive. Oh, you fucker. No die? Yes, thank God. Oh, come on! Yes, we get it. Nice. Nice. Let's go! You should... No, I'm not... Bro, I'm not fighting Alicia. I'm not doing it. It's not happening. I'm not gonna do that to my mental state. You think I'm crazy or something? You think I'm crazy? To fight Alicia? Pfft. Absolute ludicrousy to do that. Alicia? What is the best choice here? I've always chosen the bottom one here. Someone tell me what's the best choice out of these two. I've literally always taken the bottom one because I was like, yeah, it's like 160% max damage potentially. But it's like, is the top one better in any way? Or is just no? Aponia's combat is busted up. Look, it's true. It is true. Aponia is overpowered. Aponia is busted. It is busted. Wise man once said, what can go wrong? Aponia busted. You don't need to gather. She hits everything. And that's what I mean. She's so good. Alright, second one it is, boys. I've always gone with that one just because I think the potential is higher. The potential damage is higher. Boom, 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 boom. We only have 281 coins. What can we buy? Potentially... Oh, we're just shy of being able to get that one, even though that's actually not even that good. Elf damage increase, summon entities, no. Elemental breach passive. Physical. Do we upgrade or do we buy? I think there's a higher chance that we'll get more value out of Old Dreams again. Yeah, we're gonna buy that one. We're gonna get more value out of it. And then upgrading a talent by just a few percentage. I need to keep spam and alt and consume SP to keep the second core buff. Yeah, true. So use burst on cooldown essentially. Those 1.4 millions? Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I think those were 1.4 millions just every single hit, boys. Kinda cracked. Kinda cracked at this game, dude. Too easy. Game's way too easy. I think. Is it still abstinence? Yes, it is. Our previous few runs of abstinence failed, so we are doing abstinence until we get it. I can clear it 2.5 hopium? Bro, how dare you call this hopium? We will clear this. Do you not see the raw amount of power we are just exuding? 2.8 million damage. 2.8! Do you not see the raw numbers coming out of my goddamn just character? God damn. Now we actually have an actual boss fight. Alright, let me mentally prepare. I can't remember how the boss fight goes. Even a broken Platinus Equinox needs gather because she might kill many enemies, but let one of the mobs across the map alive, so you miss out on time of bonus stage. Yeah, sucks, doesn't it? Just play Aponia, dude. Go Alicia, said boy. No, I want to get abstinence done, and I know it won't happen. If I do Alicia, it won't. Oh, guys, I fucking hell. Too many Alicias. Fuck. It has to be Alicia, doesn't it? Alright, I'll do Alicia. I'll do Alicia, boys. For the memes. Let's go. But I'm focusing. I'm literally not reading a single word you guys say. I'm not reading a single word you say. I'm focusing. That was very tactical. Fucking. This is a tactical. I'm not reading a single word you guys are saying, and if I fail, I'm ending stream immediately. Gotcha. Honestly, Aponia kind of makes it easy, though. I don't even have to be near her. So it's like, Aponia's kind of too easy, dude. Aponia kind of cracked. Honestly, I'm gonna run out of time before this. I'm gonna run out of time! Guys. That's the thing I'm gonna run out of, is actual just time. Oh, you guys trolled me. To be quite frank, I don't even know if I'd be able to do Mobius. Oh, we might get it. We might get it. That might have been the wrong order, but... I can't see her HP. I'm being trolled by the game. Oh, is it 7 still? 30 seconds for 7 bars. Oh, yikes. Oh. Easiest game in the world, dude. Easiest game in the world. What can I say? Just the natural born winner. That's all it is. That's literally all it is. Just the natural born winner. What can I say? You're welcome. You're welcome. Oh, look at that. We're almost already completed with the game. Look at that. We almost got the gold thing. We almost got Goldie Boy over here. What is this? We're actually very close to finality, boys. We're actually very close. All I need is a pre-arm. It's that simple. All I need is a pre-arm. Yeah, it's easy. Drop your cool. Scream like a Homo sapien? No. I don't need that. Because I'm a composed man. I'm a composed gentleman. I don't need to scream like some sort of ape. I stay composed when I win. Because guess what? I know I'm gonna win. That's the difference, right? These monkeys screaming when they get a victory royale in Tomato Town or something like that. These people over there in Tomato Sauce Town trying to get them victory royales, they're screaming because they don't know if they're going to win. And when they do, they're surprised. I know I'm going to win. I know I'm going to win. That's why I don't scream. I saw that victory coming, even with the 6 seconds left. I knew it was there. And that's the difference between me and them pussies. I ain't a pussy. Alright, cool. That took a lot longer than I expected, though. I thought it was going to be over a lot quicker. To be absolutely honest. I thought I'd just go in there, pish, pash, posh, slap it out. Nope, it's quite hard, actually. Ponia busted. Her charge attack have a very long invisibility frame. I feel like you're blaming the character. And I feel like it's not the game's fault. It's actually everyone else's fault. Except mine, though. So let's not blame the player. I mean, let's not... No, don't hate the game. Hate the player. That's my tip to you guys. Let's do that. And then, let's do that. Oh. Use Ritual and Mayo? On God, I will never do that. Once I get her full geared... Alright. I'll do it. Once I get a full... I'm getting a sense of deja vu, like I've been on this screen before and I've said these lines before. I don't know why. Once I get a fully kitted out Ritual and Mayo, which might be in the next 5 to 10 years, once that happens, sure, I'll do a full Elysian Realm Ritual and Mayo run on Elysia. I'll do it. But till that day comes, till Ritual and Mayo is built, no shot. No cap. I mean, no, just no. That's just no. What do we do now, boys? What do we do now? I guess I spend my energy on hard mode this thingy, even though it's not that important. Where do I spend my energy now? I don't want to start a story chapter because I guess we'll do the Chronicles actually. We'll do Chronicles. Just waste a bit of time. 5 to 10 years, I'll be 30 at that moment. 5 to 10 years is how long it takes for Ritual Amaya to be geared. Today I'm going to be EI abstinence with full geared Ritual Amaya of NVO 2032. How did you know? Also, how are you predicting my videos at this point? It's almost like it's like you're seeing into the future almost. That's crazy. It's crazy that you're doing that. I will make that video. Mark my words. Write this down into the calendars, boys. I know they need to be level 50. 2032. The video will be tiled. It will be abstinence. Even like there will be like 30 difficulties above abstinence at that point, but I'll still make it. Ritual Amayo, full geared abstinence Alicia, and I'll fail at the end. On God, will fail at the end. Maybe purposely, maybe not. Who knows? But I will do it for you, for the memes. Please let me get a 40 hit combo. Oh, for fuck's sake. I hate this game. Would you make manga stream? Yeah, we're gonna stream the manga. The thing is, Endo, I'm waiting, sorry, for the manga to be added to the game. I don't want to read the manga outside of the game because I know it's being added, so I'm waiting for it to be released into the game for us to read the manga on stream. And we'll probably dedicate a few streams in a row to doing that. It'll probably be like 3 or 4 streams in a row of just reading the manga only. What am I? Oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is a bit of an interesting kind of level. You kind of get like separated from the rest of your squad, and so you have to like strategize. Oh. I like that. Then we have to switch to a pony now. Write everything I say down. Honkai still alive at that point? It should be. I don't see why not. But to be fair, what is Amayo full gear supposed to be? Just her best in slot gear? Also, wait, is Ritual Amayo the worst of the Calans? I want to confirm that. Is she the worst of her of the Callan Valkyrie suit? Because I know that there's Sundan Gunda, Sundan gear, Sundan Jaeger. And then there's the other one, which is like the masked woman, fucking Catwoman. What is this? Deal 8,000 damage in a time fraction, 50 hit combo, and then okay. So let's change. Okay, let's change nothing. Yeah, no, we can't change anything. Second, okay. GGZ still alive? Is it being constantly updated? Depends on what you mean by alive. If alive means just playable, then sure. If you mean, like, updated regularly, then I think not so much, probably. But again, I don't know the state of the game, so... What is this camera angle? Worst is Sundan Jaeger. 6 Serenade is the best? Oh, okay. Fair enough. Sundan Jaeger. Alright. I'll be on the lookout for Sunden Jaeger. Because I'll do it with that one then. At this point, it's just faster to switch to a pony and deal her damage window. No, I just fucked myself. I need to wait for a pony to get out of a mode. Is cool, but a SP regen is fucking horrible. Okay. Honestly, that does not sound fun. Still ongoing on only Chinese and Japanese though. I see. So it was one of those games. Okay, that's fair enough. That's cool, actually. I didn't know. I thought it completely stopped once Honkai released. I don't know why I assumed that. I had no like information like to help me get to that conclusion. But I just thought because the premise of the game is extremely similar, they would have stopped creation of one of them. But fair enough, if it's still going. $600 negative pub a new ice Valk. So that makes sense though. If it's a new Valk, it's probably gonna be stronger. GGZ still updated in China and Japan. I like that for some reason though. I like that it's still updated. Makes sense. Gives it the validity it deserves. Now this might be a question that's answered in terms of just knowing how the system works, but are you still knock enemies airborne 50 hit combo? If you try to play it with just a VPN of some sort, is that like a possibility? Are you able to play it via VPN / like porting and whatnot? Or is it just you have to be in those countries? Like you have to walk up to the GGZ building in Times Square of Japan in Akihabara and ask for a specific GGZ key? Very stupid question, I know, but I don't know. Oh, I'm just curious. Not that I want to play it, but you know, it'll be cool. Would be cool. Oh my god, I hate the combos in this game. I don't care, we're doing this. We can play Japanese version? Ah, okay, cool. That's cool. Game? Hello? There's an app store that give you access to that kind of game. Oh, interesting. Japanese GZ don't need VPN. I don't know about Chinese. Okay, I was just very curious if I don't know why I was curious about that. Not that I'm gonna play it, but I think there are some games that do that. There we go, level 64, boys. Nice. One more level and we get 65, which unlocks something for us. I don't know why, but I know there are some games that they like worldwide releases, and then they don't release in other areas. They're removed from certain regions, but they're not playable in any way to that region again, even through like other means. And I was just very curious about it. Rather curious. Rather curious. Alright, you know what I'm gonna do? What am I gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. Let's go to my achievements, because apparently I did an achievement. Clear normal stages 650 times. Fair enough. Let's do some rolls. Because I'm just going to do single rolls until I get to the next 10 of the Sarcasm banner, because I want to even it out. We're at 21 right now. Because I spent one last stream. Dog shit game. Scam. Scam. Surely we just get her here, right? Surely we just get her. Just do it. Just chuck it in. There it is. Fuck, Sakuno Rondo? Oh, fucking cringe. Oh, such a cringe character, dude. Oh, dude. Oh. That could have been sarcasm. Probably not, though, because it's not S. Have you ever seen Honkai fighting game concept that Mihoyo made? Mihoyo officially made it, or was it fan-made and they just kind of... Is it fan-made, or is it official Mihoyo made? Damn it. Isn't this Rondo usable in Elysian Realm? Isn't that a thing? Is she usable in Elysian Realm? On God, I swear I remember seeing her. But I could be wrong, let me check. A wrong button, fuck. Where did I get it? Yeah. At least she's new. She is new? Oh, okay, fair call. No, she's not here. Damn. Sakura Rondo not here. Cringe. Mihoyo made it as an ad. Okay, so it's official Mihoyo made. Okay. I might have seen it then, in some capacity. Let me try to remember. I might have seen it as an ad. I'm not sure though. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not a fighter game guy. Specifically if it's a 2D fighter. I'm not a 2D fighter kind of guy. I will play the 3D fighters if you guys remember playing back in the day, or if you guys ever did play or see them. The old Dragon Ball Z fighters and the old Naruto fighters. Naruto Ninja Storm, Dragon Ball Z, Raging Blast, what was it called? Oh, there was another Dragon Ball Z one. But I was that one, the 3D fighters. 2D fighter like Tekken, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Fighter Zero. That's not me. I'm not about those. I don't know why I don't like the 2D plane. I'm a 3D kind of guy. I'm not a 2D kind of guy. Oh, wait, is it? Oh, the red one is most used on this one? Okay. Oh. Wait, what element is this chick? Is she a fire DPS? What is she? Yo, is she a pyro fire DPS? What is she? How do I see? Where's the... Check guide. Oh no, that's gotta fucking open a URL, isn't it? Fuck. Oh god. Fire damage dealer support. Damage relies on ultimate is not high. She's a fire support. God damn it, why can't I get a fire DPS ever? Why can't I ever get a fucking fire DPS? It always has to be support. I've got like 7 fire supports. Look at this. Fire support. Probably a fire... I don't fucking know. Yeah, you fuckers. Bro, give me... Just chuck in a goddamn flame scion into my inventory right now. Just chuck a flame scion. Just do it. Why not? Just do it. Come on, do it. I won't do the first story today, by the way. I just want to click on it to see what happens. How many stages? Okay, a lot more. We'll do the food story in a different stream. She sucks except for Rhymestar? How dare you? How dare you say that to bunny girl Teresa? How dare you say that? Actually, let's do Universal Mirage. I just realized. Universal Mirage. You can't say anything bad about any of the Teresas, dude. How dare you? I'm physically and mentally insulted. You guys want me to see any videos? I'm kind of running out of content because we're not doing any story. Literally, because we're not doing any story, I'm out of stuff to do in Honkai. AE scale better than her in terms of fire support? AE. Ass Eater. What does AE stand for? Is it Ass Eater? No, probably not. Out of the possibilities of it being Ass Eater, I probably wouldn't say it's one of them. Astral Essence. Astral Estelogos. Apple Ensemble. Actually Enigma. Azure Imperia. Ah, that's a fair one. That's a fair one. That's 100% fair. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't put together. That's on me. Watch Alicia and Mobius video by Homu Labs. Alright. We'll do. Alicia and Mobius video. Want to have a glimpse of the manga, at least the first page of the second key manga? There's many things to talk about in that one page. I think I'd leave that for the manga streams. I think it's best if we leave that for the manga streams, then it can be like full manga discussion, even though all the discussion has already happened. It'd be nice to redo it for me in my mind. So I think I'll leave all the manga stuff for the manga streams when it's available in 5.8. So I think we'll watch the Alicia Mobius by Homu Labs, and we'll have fun with that. It's probably another comical video, and then we'll peace out. I think we'll juice. I reference JonTron too much in my general like speaking. I don't know if you guys watch JonTron much. I literally almost always reference him. Is YouTube link shareable here? Sad. Oh god. Okay. I need to write that down right now as something that I to check in the next coming days. Okay, let me do this stage first. That is the thing that I need to check. And how to enable. Because I'm not sure if it's... I'm not sure if there's an option to enable it or if they're just generally disabled on YouTube live streams. I'm not sure how it works because I haven't looked it up. But I'll look it up after and then essentially come to a verdict on... do I enable YouTube links or do I not enable YouTube links? But right now, they're not enabled. Actually, that's another thing we can do. Elf Academy or, yeah, Cooking with Valkyries, like, watch kind of party, I guess. I've watched one episode of Elf Academy Ender because I think, like, stream 1 or 2 of Honkai, like, way back in the day, like a month or so ago. I was asked to watch one episode. And I did thoroughly enjoy it. So that's another thing we can do. But, like, watching a whole episode... We'll maybe do that in one whole stream. We'll watch both of them. Because they are all short episodes, aren't they? So, we can probably get through the whole series. Unless there's multiple seasons of one of them. Probably get through the whole series in one day. I need to spend this energy, though. Where do I spend the energy? Where does one spend energy? I guess the material event, right? This bad boy? This bad boy? Light? Here we go. Do a bit of Jingwei. Even though it doesn't give Jingwei. I don't really get how that works. Expeditions? Oh, true, that's a thing. There's too many systems. I want to acknowledge that right now. There's a lot of systems in this game, so I forget which ones are a thing. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's Sakuno Rondo. Blueberry Blitz. Why can't you get the other one? Fucking Fervent Tempo, or the red girl. Fucking... Feisty woman. Where is she in here? Dude, where is she? I want her. Who do I even want here, dude? They all stinky boys. Actually, wait, hold up. We might be close to a midnight, absent midnight thingy. 21, and it costs 21 exactly. We need a Psy, inflict debuffs on enemies at least once. How do I... Okay, which character inflicts a debuff guaranteed? I need some answers. I need a guaranteed answer on which character inflicts a debuff. I think this chick with her gun, right? She can inflict freeze? Actually, let's do that. Do you want backstory of the Fervent Temple augmentation? I get if you want to explain it to me. She's an S rank? So you can only get A rank Valkyries from that? Oh, that's so poopy face. It's poopy. That's so poopy, man. Explaining Honkai's damage sources from Keepster. Actually, that's a good point. Maybe an educational video. That would be kind of interesting. Learn how the game works a bit more. Explaining all Honkai complicated terms. What's more important, damage sources? Explaining Honkai damage sources, or you can, or explaining all Honkai complicated terms. Which one's slightly more important? And I should know. They're the same video. Ah, gotcha. Fuck. Nice. Alright, so Keebster. The Keebster explaining Honkai complicated terms. Have I spelt everything correctly? Yes, sir. Explaining all of Honkai's complicated gear terms and damage sources. I see. 16 minutes. Yes, we can definitely watch that if it's going to be talking through it, because I definitely do want to understand. Because I think this is... Sorry. I think it's going to explain the refinement stuff, I'm assuming. And that's the stuff that I want to know. Because I've done a bit of refinement in my own time, but I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't really know anything that's going on. So you guys aren't even looking at the game. Oh, here we are. Let me put myself down here. Let me do that. Alright. Explaining all of Honkai's complicated gear terms and damage sources by Mr. Keebster. I'm very excited to learn. Please enlighten me.
People always ask me, Phoebe, how'd you do it? How'd you score the Myriad Emblem? The 1 billion damage? The 0 top-up? Even with all my expensive gear?
Oh, dude. Self-deprecation has to be one of the best humors in the world. Let me have a look at that really quickly. The no top-up. Yeah, fair cop, dude. Fair cop. He's telling the truth. I can see it. The scribbles there, they're actually a part of the game. True.
Even with all my expensive gear, I just can't seem to do it. Well, I always tell them, there's a method to the madness.
I'm sure there is.
See, I discovered some secret tips. Whales hate them. Agony players want to know them. And today, I'm going to share it with you. And actually, yeah, that is the topic of today's video, but it's not going to be that stupid. No, actually, it is going to be that stupid because, believe it or not, this is probably
if you're a true gamer, I'm a true gamer.
Honkai that no one wants to hear about. Basically, there is a lot of stuff that people misunderstand or misinterpret in this game. So the goal of this video is to explain everything I can. In the end, this is going to be a pretty disorganized video, so please use the YouTube chapter feature to navigate around if you need to. But let's go ahead and start. So damage is one of those things in Honkai where I would say the majority of players really don't know the origin of. Does it come from here? Does it come from there? I don't know where damage comes from. And most of the time, the top players just test builds to see if they work. Most of the time, the damage charts that you see floating around on the internet are very inaccurate, and that is because the way that you play the Valkyrie suited to the build can vary a lot. If that's not enough, the boss that you're fighting can also change your build. Basically, when you see an out there build, sometimes it's just easier to stop asking questions and just copy it. And to be fair, what MiHoYo's been doing in the past 2 years is simplifying all the builds. So a lot of the builds these days are just the 3 signature stigmatas. Back in my day, the builds looked a lot different. Sometimes filling in a couple pieces of gear is fine enough.
A lot of this is like absolutely nothing to me. Not a lot of this means much to me, to be absolutely honest.
So we're going to explain the damage system itself, but before that, let's go over the stigmata lingo that goes around in the game. This is where people make the biggest mistakes, so it is very important for me to go over it. Okay, first off, we have basic attacks and burst mode. And basic attacks, like the name implies, are just the normal hits that your Valkyrie does. Do note that this does not include stuff like QTEs or your weapon skills. Now this completely separates from burst mode. So what is a burst mode? Burst mode basically is when a Valkyrie uses their ultimate and their attacks change fundamentally because of it. Easy example is the Herstrip Sentience. Use the ultimate and she gets the ability to bonk. This is a burst mode. So if you're not sure if a Valkyrie has a burst mode or not, the easiest way to tell is on the Valkyrie.
Fuck me, dude. She gets the ability to bonk. Nice, thanks. Thank you.
Select screen. MiHoYo has added an icon for any Valkyrie that has a burst mode. Sometimes
you know what? Actually, that I fucking bro. That's how you know there's a fundamental difference between Honkai and Genshin. You can just sort the characters by like so many different factors. What, bro? You can just sort them by let's go back to that screen. There's like you could the character archetype. Obviously, that's not, you can't do that in Genshin because there's not specific archetypes. But then this bottom part where it's like elements and then what, like which debuff they can inflict. Where the fuck is it? Yeah, like which debuff, physical, fire damage, stun, ignite, paralyze, weaken, heavy attack, heal, impaired, time mastery, gather, bleed, ignite, fast attack, freeze. It's like the filter feature is just fucking hell, Genshin.
miHoYo has added an icon for any Valkyrie that has a burst mode. Sometimes it can get a little bit confusing, especially with Valkyries like Fervent Tempo Delta and Alicia. So why is this important? So the buffs for burst mode cannot buff basic attacks, and the buffs for basic attacks cannot buff burst mode. This is really important to note because some Valkyries have most of their damage in the burst mode, and some Valkyries obviously have no burst mode at all. So if you see any stigmata with the exact term basic attack or the exact term burst mode, do keep in mind this fact. Because the next term that is used on stigmatas is after exit. So after exit is used on a lot of free stigmata, and it's very often misinterpreted. The common misinterpretation is that you actually have to switch into the Valkyrie to get this buff, but actually that's completely wrong. Basically, the Valkyrie just has to not be on the field for this buff to work. Now, most of the time, after exit buffs will last forever. However, there are some cases.
Really? Oh. Yeah. That is not very good explanation. That is not very good explanation, to be quite frank. After exit is definitely not what it sounds like. Because, wow. It's a permanent buff unless it specifies a time. Fair cop.
Cases where there is a time associated with it. So for example, the 2 set for Fuhua Musician. So let's just say, for example, your support Valkyrie has the 2 set Musician set. So at the very beginning of combat, at 0 seconds, the support Valkyrie is off field already. So this 10-second Musician 2 set buff has already taken place because the Valkyrie is already off field. Now the worst thing about the Fuhua Musician set is the fact that this buff does not refresh at all. So what ends up happening is that if you want this 10-second buff to refresh, you actually have to wait 10 seconds first. Next up, we have Ultimate Evasion and Evasion skills. So an Ultimate Evasion is basically when you evade an enemy's skill at the right time. This is the core mechanic of Honkai Impact. So a few things happen when you get an Ultimate Evasion. The first thing that happens is that your entire team will get 2 SP. The game will also intentionally lag for a brief amount of time just to give you some feedback. It's hard to describe, but basically it feels really nice. And of course, the last thing that'll happen is most likely your evasion skill will proc off the ultimate evasion. Now we want to differ the evasion skill from the ultimate evasion because you can trigger an ultimate evasion without triggering the ultimate evasion skill. And that's because even though your evasion skill can be on cooldown, you can still evade enemy attacks. So let's take the Stigmata Zoro Top for example. This Stigmata triggers off the ultimate evasion. With this Stigmata, you can evade the same attack as many times as you want and get 3 SP for every single evasion you get. Contrast this with Direct Bottom, which can also proc off of your evasion skill. So some Valkyries can actually trigger their evasion skill without getting an ultimate evasion. Here's my Moonbeam just evading and getting the proc from Direct Bottom. Now believe it or not, miHoYo decided to put another wording for evasion skill, which is the effect called Retaliation. As far as I know, the description Retaliation is only on the Dante Stigmata. Basically, Retaliation is the exact same thing as procking your evasion skill. Okay, next we have the difference between Time Lock and Time Fracture. So Global Time Fracture, I'm sure we're all familiar with.
I actually need to know this.
So
wait, so there's, okay. Ultimate evasion and evasion skill. So Time Fracture and Time Lock.
Time Fracture. So Global Time Fracture, I'm sure we're all familiar with. Basically, the entire stage will darken. In certain stages, this will also slow down the clock of the stage, like in Memorial Arena. And by taking advantage of this, you can get a much higher score. Now, you want to differ this from the Time Lock / Time Slow wording, which is the status effect of the enemy. So Time Fracture will actually inflict the status on the enemy as well, so that's why it often gets confused. But basically, Time Slow is when the enemy is slowed down in their attack. Some enemies are very resistant to Time Slow, which means the effects will either run out very quickly or just not affect the enemy at all. So you want to keep this in mind because most Valkyrie skills refer to...
I'm going to listen to this part again. Hey, what's up, Kyobu? Welcome to the stream. How are you? Well, I'm finally able to catch a stream. Hey, glad you could be here. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to rewatch this Time Slow / Time Fracture thing again. I don't understand this.
I'm sure we're all familiar with. Basically, the entire stage will darken. In certain stages, this will also slow down the clock of the stage, like in Memorial Arena. And by taking advantage of this, you can get a much higher score. Now, you want to differ this from the Time Lock / Time Slow wording, which is the status effect of the enemy. So Time Fracture will actually inflict the status on the enemy as well, so that's why it often gets confused. But basically, Time Slow is when the enemy is slowed down.
Yeah, I just didn't hear him say status of the enemy.
Resistant to Time Slow, which means the effects will either run out very quickly or just not affect the enemy at all. So you want to keep this in mind because most Valkyrie skills refer to Time Slow, not the Time Fracture. On contrast, we have the
I think they should have just used the word slow not time slow, and thus it would not cause confusion. Because you have a time fracture, time lock, time slow. I think just slow would have been a better name for it. But that's just my personal opinion, I guess. To avoid confusion.
Stigmata, which refers to the time fracture, not the time slow effect. Alright, the last term I want to go over is the heavy description for a weapon. This is a really random description that miHoYo put in. As far as I know, it's only on Beethoven top, and basically this only refers to a cannon, not a greatsword. Okay, that segment of the video was way longer than I thought it would be, and it makes me realize how
What the fuck is that useless shit right there? The heavy description? That is the most useless thing I've... It's only on one Beethoven Stigmata. And it's for cannons and not greatswords. Alright, fair enough. There's also a slow debuff from the Ice Valkyries. I think that, like, that one you can just interpret as freeze, though. Like, it's... Yeah, so time fracture, that one makes sense. I would not have ever used time slow to describe this slowing effect of an enemy, or the slowing status. And then the freeze one is probably just, you can, like, you assimilate that, or associate that, sorry, with slowing the enemy down due to freeze. So that one makes sense. The time slow one and calling it that doesn't make sense. I would have just called it the slow effect, or the slow status.
how complicated this game is.
Not one of their English,
Here's
not one of
where
their
we enter
strongest
the
points.
deep
I can
stuff.
agree.
How do you actually do damage? You want to use your own build in Honkai? This is where understanding how the damage system works in Honkai can really help you. Do you need to do complex math? No, but understanding the surface level knowledge is good enough. So basically, I'm going to try and explain the damage system in Honkai using an iceberg.
So let me try to interpret this. So we have at the tip of the iceberg, attack, skills, and type counters. I love the fact that type counters is the top there. Elemental damage percent, fizz damage percent, dilution, weather total damage, crit rate, and CRT. Oh yeah, that's one thing I don't know. If I don't know because I don't understand how it works. But the fact that CRT is a thing, and then also crit rate and crit damage, just yeah. Because I know CRT is like a problem that, or not a problem itself, but people have trouble understanding it. And then you have resistance, impairs, and breaches. That's just, yeah, I know what that means. Fizz, wait, are these? No. Fizz, enemy damage taken, elemental total damage, independent multipliers, specific multipliers. Okay.
Basically, all of these terms are thrown around in the Stigmata lingo, and if you're a new player, you probably don't know a single thing about any of these multipliers. So here we go, from the top, starting with attack. So attack is literally the stat that your Valkyrie has. Like most games, if you have more attack, you're going to do more damage.
Nice.
Where does that come from? Where the attack is useful is in skills. So in Honkai, your damage is completely calculated into skills. So for example, when you do a basic attack, that is a skill, and if you use an ultimate, that is also a skill. You can see these skills on the skill page of the Valkyrie. So for example, a hypothetical skill can do 100% of your attack. In that example, if your attack is 1000, then the skill would do 1000 damage.
Quick
Moving
maths.
on, we have type counters. We're all familiar with type counters if you've played the game at all. Type counters give you a 30% advantage or disadvantage. Basically just add 30% or minus 30% to your damage. They're separated from everything else and is calculated at the end. It's one of the most important aspects of Honkai, so get used to it. Moving on to layer 2, things get a little spicy, but it's nothing too complicated. So first things first, let's look at the crit stats. So the first thing to note is that the critical stats only matter for physical damage, which means elemental damage does not crit. How does crit work? Well, if your hits
Alright, I didn't know that. It only matters. Fair cop. Fair. That's important to know. It's not ever outlined, but that's important to know. That it only really matters for physical. Thanks for telling me that.
Which means elemental damage does not crit. How does crit work? Well, if your hit strikes a critical, then your damage gets a multiplier. And that multiplier is your critical damage. You ever play Genshin Impact? In Genshin Impact, you can easily see your critical rate and your critical damage on the stats screen. In Honkai Impact, you cannot see either of these stats. But wait a minute, what is this CRT stat? This is what we call a red herring. It's not a very useful stat, but it is used in the calculation for the critical rate. It contributes such a small amount, you can basically think of this stat as useless. If you want to know your critical rate and your critical damage, well, then you have to do the hard math, or you just guess, which is what most of us do. So in Honkai,
you know what? The thing is that because the game is so... I kind of appreciate the fact that the game is not so reliant on the two stats that can make or break a game. Crit rate and crit damage make or break certain games, and Genshin is like a main contributor to it, where like 99% of the DPSs you just build for crit rate, crit damage, and the game becomes very stale in terms of character design and characters build. Sorry. So I kind of like the idea that crit rate and crit damage aren't the only things, and you have to consider, fizz bonus, elemental bonus, impairment, and all that stuff instead of just crit rate, crit rate, crit rate, crit rate. Oh, crit damage, crit damage, crit damage. I really like that. It was never mentioned in the game for some reason because I guess it's unimportant.
Honkai Impact, the base critical damage is 100%. What does that mean? It means if you get a critical hit, you will do double the damage. You can compare this with Genshin Impact's base critical damage, which is 50%, so you'll realize that the crit rate stat is more important in this game. But most of our endgame builds...
I'm still baffled that that's the case with Genshin. Every game I've ever played, personally, every game that I've ever played, whenever you have a base crit amount of damage, or a base amount of crit damage, it's always 100%, so your damage is always getting doubled. I'm baffled that Genshin does the 50% thing. I'm baffled by it. I don't know if it's good or bad, but bafflement is there.
Have crit rate jacked to the tits. Next, let's talk about the damage multipliers. So most of the gear that you've seen probably buff damage in some way. For example, this piece of gear can give me 20% physical damage. If I did 1000 damage, now I'll do 1200 damage. Easy, right? And you may ask yourself, is there any difference between the damage multiplier and the crit damage multiplier? In terms of function, they actually don't have any difference other than the fact that the crits are random. Going back to Genshin Impact, do you know why crit rate is so important in that game? I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes is too long. Basically, you have a problem that's called dilution.
True.
So let's say you already have a physical damage multiplier in your kit.
That's true.
Let's say you have 100% physical damage stacked up in your kit. You're basically doing double the physical damage here. So instead of doing 1000 damage, you're doing 2000 damage. But now let's say you get another source of physical damage multiplier. Let's say it's 100% as well. So what happens from here? Do you go from 2000 to 4000 damage? The answer is, you go from 2000 to 3000 damage, and that is because the physical damage multipliers will add. You basically have a 200% physical damage multiplier. This is what we call damage bonuses stacking additively. But wait a minute, what about crit damage? Well, the crit damage is treated separately from the physical damage percent, so they will multiply with each other, and that basically means you go from 2000 to 4000 damage. It is important to note that the crit damage also stacks additively with itself though. So again, if you stack another 100% crit damage, you're going to do 3 times the damage, not 4 times the damage. And that is really important when we talk about the next thing, which is the total damage multiplier. So certain gears in Honkai have this description which describes
a lot of words.
Boosting your total damage by a certain amount. Now obviously this is a damage multiplier that is indiscriminate between elemental and physical damage. However, if you keep in mind the dilution discussion that we had earlier, you might think, oh, let's add this to the physical damage multiplier that we had before. And I'm going to stop you right there because that's not how it works. That's right, total damage multiplier actually multiplies with the others. So that's right, if you have 100% of both, you are doing 4 times the damage. And yes, total damage multiplier will stack with itself, which means...
So in the end, you just kind of want all 3 of them to be high, and then you'll be doing, like, many multiples of damage. Pick up.
You can basically treat the 3 things that we've been talking about as 3 separate pools. Each pool will add with itself, but multiply with the others. So if you had 100% of all 3, now you're doing 8 times the damage. And the last thing in layer 2 is the weather system. Well, the weather system is basically one of the most important aspects of the Honkai endgame. This is basically the multiplier of the actual stage itself. And this thing can be very complicated because sometimes it works into one of these pools, but other times it can be a separate multiplier in itself. And in that case, it can reduce your final damage by a ton, but on the other hand, it can also increase your damage by a ton. And yes, this is basically the main way that MiHoYo balances the game. Alright, moving on to layer 3. Let's start with the easier stuff. Now in Honkai Impact, it's not enough that you have to buff your Valkyrie, but there's also the fact that you have to debuff the enemy. Most of the time, the debuffs are applied by support Valkyries. And basically what happens is this is another multiplier that we have to worry about, which means yes, there are 2 other separate pools which stack additively with itself, but multiply with the others. So there's one for physical and elemental damage taken, and the total damage taken. If you've been keeping track and you had 100% of every single one of these pools, well, now you do 32 times the amount of damage. And of course, Honkai is not that simple to only have multipliers. We also have to think about the enemy's resistance. This is such an important thing to keep track of, and it can make everything we've been talking about completely useless. For example, the elemental resistance value of Jizo is about 70%.
Next one is 64%.
Basically just take off 70%
or 64
of the damage
times.
that you were doing. Now, of course, Jizo doesn't only have elemental damage resistance, he also has physical damage resistance, and that is 25%. Now, most bosses have more physical damage resistance, and usually this value comes from the.
Oh, is
element
this
shield.
Sundan
The
Jaeger?
idea is you break the shield,
Or-
and the
or is this
entire
Ritual
physical
Amaya?
resistance is
I can't
depleted to
tell.
0. And you may have
I think
noticed there
that's
are now
Ritual Amaya.
shields that reduce elemental damage as well. And to make things simple, basically this always just depends on the enemy that you're fighting. And of course, there is actually a way to get through this
Oh, it's
resistance
Dia
value,
and Korra,
that
I
is
believe.
called Breach. So Breach directly subtracts from the enemy's resistance value. So Breach is extremely powerful when the resistance values are a lot higher. Let's go back to our 1000 damage example. We can fight two enemies, one with 90% resistance to our damage and one with 10%. So which
Yeah.
one is Breach going to be more helpful on?
Left.
The answer is the one with 90%. Let's say we apply a 10% breach. Basically what happens is the enemy's resistance goes from 90 to 80 and 10 to 0 respectively. In the example with the enemy with 90% resistance, our damage would go from 100
I actually got a
to
question
200.
about Honkai. Can you find in any way the exact resistant percentage of specific enemies? Is there like a statistics screen where you can inspect the enemy essentially and find out they have 50% resistance to physical, 30 to elemental, and so on and so forth? Is there a screen for that? Because I know that Genshin doesn't, and it should. Not that it matters that much in Genshin, but still, it should have it because it's kind of like an important screen. So being able to find that information would be helpful. Can't find it in game. Damn, dude. That system is really important in my eyes. Being able to find the enemies, maybe like after you kill the enemy for the first time, you can then get an inspection of the enemy like in a certain like library, and it just tells you, hey, this enemy had 50% physical, that's why you took so long, essentially. You can like infer that from the information. I think having those in game, I'm assuming it's probably on the Honkai Impact wiki, so that's where you find it, but I think the game should just give it to you, really. It's like, it's important information that goes into your own thing. We calculated, yeah, see, yes, fair enough. Fair enough.
100. So just from 10% breach, our damage already doubled. Now let's look at the enemy with 10% resistance. So our damage here would go from 900 to 1000, which is what, an 11% bonus? This makes much less of an impact, but you can see how breach is much more important endgame. And that is because the resistance values get higher as the disturbance also goes up. Now with breach, folks, we only have elemental breach. And believe it or not, folks, there are 3 types of resistances, just like how we have 3 different types of buffs, which means as of right now, we have no way to build against the physical resistance and the total damage resistance that an enemy might have. But uh-oh, what is this? Physical breach does seem to exist in the Elysian realm. This is definitely something that we might see in future patches. And do you think resistance would be that simple? Of course not. Now believe it or not, there are actually different ways that the enemy gets physical resistance. So like we discussed before, an enemy might have physical resistance based on its shield, or it just has it innately. But guess what? There is another way that the boss has physical resistance, and that is the defense value that the boss has. So defense value is treated in a very complex formula. Basically 1000 defense is like 34% resistance. The harder the content, the higher the defense. And so how does it work when a boss has 2 different sources of resistance? Do you add them? No, you do something like this. And of course, the thing that you may have heard is very important for physical teams is to use Impair. Now, Impair takes out a percentage of the boss's defense, which is basically just one branch of the enemy's physical resistance. But basically, for physical teams, this is the closest thing to breach that we have. When an enemy has a lot of defense, it also has a lot of physical resistance just from the defense. So when physical breach is released, you would still use it with Impair. Alright, finally we get to the last layer. Alright, first off, we have independent multipliers. So these are some multipliers that are on some skills and some stigmatas. The 2 ways to discern it are if the stigmata says from the host. It can also say something like independent effect in parentheses. So these work completely different from all of the rest of the multipliers. If you remember, basically all of the multipliers worked in pools and they stacked additively with themselves while multiplying with the others.
Yeah.
All these independent effects are not only separate from all of these pools, they also multiply with themselves. So let's read a stigmata like Thalas Mid. The second part of the stigmata gives you a 2% fire damage bonus, stacking up to 10 times, and this is a independent multiplier. So what does that mean? It means this stigmata will give you an undiluted 22% fire damage bonus. This is by far the strongest multiplier type there is, so whenever you see an independent multiplier or from the host, you're dealing with a very strong effect. Now the last thing on this is the specific multiplier. Now this is actually something that I made up. So certain bosses and enemies will have specific multipliers. Basically they're things that MiHoYo designed so that you can do more damage to the boss. So the easiest example is Heimdall. So each time a segment of Heimdall's shield breaks, he takes 5% more damage. and then when all 4 segments break, he takes 20% additional damage. So these are independent multipliers, so that means they multiply together. Basically, by the end, he'll take 44% more damage, and that multiplies with any of the debuffs that you might have. Now let's contrast this with Hodo. Now Hodo is a boss that takes 25% more damage when he's freezing or bleeding, and in this case, it is not an independent multiplier, it is treated as a normal debuff, and basically this debuff will add to your Newtons and stuff like that. So each boss in this game might have their own niche multipliers. Basically, it's a case-by-case basis. Okay, that basically covers everything that has to do with multipliers. And if you made it this far, congratulations, you did it. So hopefully with this video, you will know why the second build here is much better than the first. And you might have figured out if you have the Hearthstone Flame Scion, Dallas Mid is an incredibly strong Stigmata. It's free, and it's incredibly important to get if you don't have the crystals for the signature gear. Now, whether or not you understood everything that I mentioned is another question, and if you didn't, that's fine. Please try and comment a question and get to them when I can. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Oh shit, whoops. What did I just press? Oh. Honestly, dude? Like, honestly, that's why it's hard to balance this game, I guess. That's why it's hard to balance. They got so many different multipliers, and that it's kind of hard to balance it. That's about it. That's all I got from this. Yeah, they calculated. Yeah, I'm a fan of when games add it themselves, though. I'm a massive fan of that, because they understand that the players want to do the they understand that players want to do the min-maxing but don't want to do the calculations. Yeah, that was interesting. None of that's going to apply to me for a while, though, so I'm just going to be absolutely honest. Not a lot of that applies to me right now. Right now, my main gameplay option is press Apponia button and win. That's my main kind of playstyle right now. Press Apponia, win. So until I don't win from that, I'm not really going to care about the other ones. And once I have to care, then I'll start caring. But it was educational, at least. I'll probably reference that video a lot or refer back to it and watch it in my own time a lot. So, guys, that's it for today. That's it. That really is it for today. Hope the stream is not dying again in some way. I've got a yellow notification here saying there's an error, but hopefully we're still live. Who fucking knows? I've played for a good amount. Oh, shit, I just moved the chat window, so I'm looking at you guys over here now. This feels weird looking over here and reading chats. Let me just move it back. I played for a good amount, and the video doesn't count on me too. Yeah, I think it's like it's very specific in like once you start pushing the higher echelon of 1% to 1%. So, you know, it's like how many players are pushing for the 1%? Well, only the 1%, right? So, you know, it's like it's a good video though. It's a 10 out of 10 video. He explains everything perfectly. Like he explains everything like beyond perfectly. To be quite frank with you, beyond perfectly. Yeah, we're 2 subscribers away from 1,000. Who hasn't called their grandmother? Who the hell has not called their grandmother and had them subscribe to the channel? What is wrong with you guys? Come on. Yeah. I'm down to, like, once I'm at 81, I'm able to pre-arm. I do want to make a full build for a character and just kind of go hard in one sort of game style and just understand the game fundamentally. Obviously do that with all the characters, but I do definitely want to become good at the game. Like, it's something that I definitely want to do. But for now, listen, I don't have the resources. Genshin for me is going to be a very slow and therapeutic grind that I'm going to enjoy over time. But here's the thing, as we are coming closer, I should explain this to everyone, as we are coming closer to the quotations end of Honkai, of the current accessible story, we're coming up to chapter 28, 29, which is the current one, and then obviously 30 in the future. The Genshin, not the Genshin, sorry, the Honkai streams will not necessarily slow down, but because there is a lack there of active content, they will be not every single day once we reach a certain point of stale grinding. So, that's where other gacha games come into play. So, the ones on the horizon, ladies and gentlemen, the ones on the horizon are literally the 2 other Hoyoverse games, which I'm ashamed to say that I am looking into and looking forward to playing, is the Zenless Zone Zero, as well as Honkai Star Rail. Actually, I'm not that ashamed to say I want to play Honkai Star Rail. I'm ashamed to say that I want to play Zenless Zero. As well as Tower of Fantasy. Tower of Fantasy. Hui, you said it before I did, or we said it at the same time. Tower of Fantasy is on my radar. I would have, I don't know if you follow them on Twitter, or if anyone follows Tower of Fantasy on Twitter, but they actually have an open beta, or something along the lines of an open beta going on right now, for like specific regions. And I looked into that, and sadly Australia wasn't in that specific region's thing. So I wasn't able to play that, but I did look into it, and yeah, sadly not. But I will be playing that on launch, or in the days around its launch. And yeah, then the other two Hoyoverse games are just kind of on my radar as well. So once they come out, and once the Honkai, I'm up to date with Honkai, it will be an alternation of those few games, including Genshin Impact, sadly, as for the content. Oh, so many people are liking my one tweet about getting, or not even my one tweet, but just my one post on Enviosity's post about getting Arataki. Interesting. Yeah. Let's see what Hoyo will do once Genshin, due to Genshin once Tower of Fantasy comes out. Who knows? Tower of Fantasy has a high chance of being very much pay to win, but it also has a very high chance of being better endgame wise. So who knows? You did speedrun Honkai Story, if I'm being honest. Many streamers drag the story playthrough for months. Yeah, but why? I don't see a reason to do that. You know what I mean? Fair enough if they want to do that, and I do know a lot of people who drag out single-player stories over a long time, and I can see and understand you want to drag out a lot of content, try to soak in, bask in the glory of it, but it's like, or you could not. You could just play through it at a normal pace. I think I didn't speedrun. I think I played it at a normal pace. I think a lot of people a lot of streamers at least, or a lot of people who create content around the story of things, play it at a much slower pace than normal. Me doing one chapter a day, I think that's fine. I think that's an average speed, because you, like, each chapter, if I'm to explain it, each chapter is roughly the exact amount of energy, each chapter takes the exact amount of energy that you have on a daily basis. So the game is almost designed for you to come back daily, do one chapter, come back daily, do one chapter, come back daily, do one chapter. Tower of Fantasy 4 out of 10, when Genshin 7 out of 10 for me. That's also, but depends on if you've played it, Shin. Depends on if you've played it. Like, and also depends on what you look for in a game. Endgame players might switch to Tower of Fantasy if it has an endgame. Like, Genshin is obviously going to be a high quality game. It has a few $1 billion behind it. But, you know, Tower of Fantasy is going to be probably a more endgame quality of life game, because it already has many more quality of life features compared to Genshin. Genshin didn't add new stuff. Many streamers might jump to a new game for content. Exactly. I've been waiting for a week when you say you want to check Gundam Revolution on Genshin stream for a week. Oh, truly. I'll just do it now. I'll just do it now. I got time. Hey, Tissue, good night. I'm not going out. I'm not leaving, Tissue. Now you're gonna have to stay here. Gundam... What is it? Gundam Revolution. I think I might know what this game is. Oh, you know what? I do know what this game is. I watched Moist Critical play this for a while. I watched Charlie play this for a while. Yeah. I watched Moisty play it for a while. Yeah, the thing is, depends on how refined it is on launch. I'm not going to look into it too deeply, because it's like, I don't know how close it is. It's a network test. That's when you're on a network test, you're not that close to release, to be quite frank with you. At least I don't think so. I'm not sure how close it is to release. Who knows? But I'm probably going to, because unless it's free to play, who knows? I play a ton of games, so Genshin Endgame not as bad for me. And that's the thing, Shin. That's an absolutely fair argument. If you play a lot of games and you kind of just don't push, let's say, Genshin to the limit, and you try to push it to the limit, if you don't want it to be your main game, then obviously you're gonna have a good time. Like, anyone who's casually playing Genshin Impact is probably having a really fun time. But when you make a when you make a live service gacha game with constant microtransactions, with power like increase through microtransactions, and as well a power system, but then at the same time have no end game, no grinding, no PvP, no leaderboard, and just no area to exude that power that you buy, it creates a problem for the whole the whole higher echelon of the ecosystem. And that's the reason I say Tower of Fantasy might be slightly better in terms of giving players an area to exude their power, because it already looks like there's like group required bosses where you go to the open world and you need like a team of 8 people. I think I've already seen dungeons and stuff like that. I'm not too sure though. I haven't watched it in a while, but it just looks like it has a bit more of a fleshed out end game. I might say this will be Overwatch 2 competitor in the coming future. Depends on how they refine and depends on how like good it looks. Because one of the robots there looked like it was just it was T-posing. So I'll look into it when it comes to the release, but I don't know if I'll play it because I'm not even a Gundam fan, to be quite frank with you. Why can't they make Honkai collab in Genshin? There's so many stuff from Honkai. Maybe like an event-only leaderboard, chibi PvP, chat room, or lobby. Absolutely. That's stuff that's been in conversation. It should have been added, but who knows. If you want to end the stream, search roughly Yadra video for outro. I've heard that Rawfly doesn't like people watching their videos. I don't know if that's true or not. I am still endgame Genshin player. I put more because story is boring and gameplay is stiff. Wait, you what do you mean you put it more? You don't play it more, or you do play it more because it's stiff? I'm not sure what you meant. I don't know. I've heard that Rawfly has I don't know, that doesn't like people watching the videos. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of having a conversation at this point. Oh, I know. This is Rawfly. Who did I hear? Don't want people. Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, his channel rule. I thought so. I put Genshin more than Honkai, and that's fair enough. Everyone has their own like view on everything. In my eyes, I think it just has potential. That's a key word for me, Shin, is potential. I think like on first glance, probably Tower of Fantasy does look pretty like dry. It looks like just a complete copy, but I think potential is a key word there. If it launches well, it has good kind of frequent updates, and constant expansiveness. I think it has the potential to be better. But who cares? Who knows? It's not out yet, so no one can know. Regardless, I'm going to end stream here, boys. It's 10:27 for me. Thank you again all for watching so much. We are literally 2 subs away from like 1K, I think. Who knows right now? Who's counting? I'm not. Well, I am. We're 2 subs away. And listen, those 2 subs, let me tell you something. Those 2 subs will probably happen whilst I'm asleep. And I'm going to be happy knowing that I went up subs whilst I was asleep. So, again, thank you again for watching. Have a great day, great evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Drink water, stay safe, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream, which is tomorrow, which is, again, Honkai Impact, story progression, be there or be square. Bye-bye.